Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Committee Chat. We ready to get some stuff going. We'll do a quick little introduction. I'm Dolores.
Shay, the one and only.
And
Easy.
please. So this week we are talking about the Olympic tea. And Lord knows there is some tea. Today the 5v5 roster was announced, and we are gonna jump right into it. For those that don't know, the US Olympic women's team are one of the most dominant teams in the history of the Olympics. When we talk about legacy of dominance, dictionary. So let's talk about this year's team and get into everything about it. Yana's going to do some player introductions just so you guys know who's on the team, and then we are going to dive into all the drama.
All right. At the guard spot, we have Chelsea Gray. She was on the last Olympic team in 2020. She also was on the 2020 FIBA World Cup. She's been on the 2018 national team as well. She's been a part of some qualifying teams, and the training camps she last attended was 2024, February and April. And the reason why I'm pointing this out, because I need y'all to understand that a lot of these players have been attending these camps since the last Olympics to prepare and get ready and play with one another and stuff like that. So she's been a part of February and April's training camp of 2024 and 2022 March and 2021 February. Then we got our dinosaur DT. Like, the list is long as fuck. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but I do want to point out she is one of only 12 players to have a world championship gold medal, an Olympic gold medal, an NCAA title, and a WNBA championship. She's going for a 6th gold medal. So y'all do the math. She's been on damn near every team, it feels like. She's been a part of the 2018 FIBA World Cup, and she also has some honors as being the 2006, 2010, 2012, and 2016 USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. She's been on the All FIBA World Cup team twice, 2010 and 2018. So she knows what she's doing, and she's been a part of several training camps, including 2024 April, 2024 February, where she went to Belgium with the team, and she did the college exhibition tour February 2023, where they played several college teams during that little stint. Then we have Jewel Lloyd. She's a part of the 2020 Olympics team. She's been a part of 2022 and 2018 FIBA World Cup. She also did FIBA 3x3 for Team USA, and she's been a part of the 2024 April training camp. February, she went to Belgium as well, and she's been a part of several camps in 2021 and 2023. We got Jackie Young, first-time Olympian for 5x5, but just last Olympics, she won gold at the 2020. And she's been a part of several 3x3 teams, but this will be her first time representing the 5x5. And since the last Olympics, I feel like everybody's been at the 2024 April training camp, but she also attended the one in February, went to Belgium, and she also attended the 2023 one in Belgium, the College World Tour. So after that, we have KP, first time 5v5 Olympic
Puerto Rican princess.
But she has represented us on the 5v5 stage before with the 2022 FIBA World Cup and the 2018 FIBA World Cup. She was a part of the FIBA World Cup All-Star 5 in 2022. So she does have that familiarity with playing on the 5v5 team and doing what it takes. The last tournament they were in Belgium, she led the team in assists with almost 5 assists per game. And she was at the last several training camps. We have first-time Olympian Kalia Copper. She was with the team with the FIBA World Cup as well.
Really?
Let's go.
Really?
She was with the team in Belgium in early 2024. She attended the training camp where they did the College World Tour, World Tour, whatever, but in 2023. And she also attended the training camps in February and March of 2021. Then we have Sabrina, first-time Olympian. Congrats to her. She was also part of the 2022 FIBA World Cup team, And she's been a part of some 3x3 teams as well before she got the nod to do the 2022 FIBA World Cup. She was actually the MVP for the USA Basketball 3x3 National Championship in 2018. And she's been attending all the camps, it feels like I've mentioned, for everybody else as well. Now down to our post players, where we really be dominating.
Really?
Asia Wilson, and I'm gonna say this for Asia, Stewie, and BG. All three of them are part of the 12 that have earned a world championship gold medal, an Olympic gold medal, an NCAA title, and a WNBA championship. All three of them. So we'll start with Asia. Asia's been a part of the last Olympic 2020, and this will be her second time being on the team. She was 2022 and 2015 USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. She was a USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year before she even made a national team, which I thought was pretty cool. She was the 2022 FIBA World Cup MVP and made the all-tournament team. And in 2020, she was on the qualifying all-tournament team as well. The last Olympics, she averaged 16.5 points and 7.3 rebounds. And she's been attending all the camps this year, and she attended one in 2020. Well, all the ones in 2022. Brianna Stewart. Well, we all know Stewie. This will be Stewie's third Olympic that she's going for. Yeah, third Olympic gold that she's going for. She was a part of the 2022 FIBA World Cup All-Star 5 as well, and the 2018 one as well, and she got the MVP in 2018. She was the 2011, 2013, and 2018 USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year. Last Olympics, she averaged 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 4.7 assists. And she's also won gold in 2022, 2018, and 2014 FIBA World Cups. And she's been attending all the camps too. So we got BG. She'll also be going for her third goal. Last Olympics, she averaged 16.5 points and 7 rebounds. And the reason why I pointed out those three players' averages is because they basically carried the team in the Olympics last year. And they were so crucial to what Team USA did. And she's been attending all the camps since she's gotten back. We got Fee, two-time Olympian now. She was on the 2020 Olympic team, and she also played for 2019 FIBA AmeriCup, and she's been attending all the camps as well, but she's been a breakout star for Team USA. She was with them in Belgium, and she led the team in scoring. She had 4.7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and a team-high 3.7 steals per game. And last but not least, we have Alyssa Thomas, first-time Olympian. Congrats to AT. She was on the 2022 FIBA World Cup, and she's been attending all the camps whenever she's in the country because she plays overseas, but she's been attending camps as well.
The muscle.
That is a team, y'all. That is a team. So now that we know the acumen, we know how talented these athletes are in the international basketball arena, because as we know, these stats are created and developed by playing overseas and in FIBA competition. Let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of this roster makeup for the upcoming Olympics. When we look at this roster, where does the USA have an edge?
Strength. In that paint.
Yeah, post play. Always post play. I don't think there's anybody in the country that can match up with BG, Stewie, Asia. There's still a big gap there when it comes to the talent level of the post play overseas, and Fee and AT. The addition of those two and the level of play that they're playing at right now, there's just a wide gap.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing that the USA has that a lot of other countries don't have is that 4 of those 5 bigs can bring the ball up the court smoothly and start and initiate the offense. And maybe outside of Emma Miesemann, no other countries have players that can defend that caliber of a post player. And then, as we know, having someone taller than 6'5" is almost essential in international play, because your China's, Brazil won't be there, but your Brazil's, some of your other competitors are always going to trot out that 1 or 2 players that are 6'6" plus. And I mean, that's an easy bucket and put back. And the thing that America has is that all of our bigs, pretty much outside of AT, can defend anyone that height in some sort of way, like whether it be with their length, whether it be with their foot speed, whether it be with, getting them in foul trouble. Having BG on the team is kind of a cheat code. As people don't know this, but in the last Olympic cycle, we had Sylvia Fowles, Tina Charles, and BG on the same team. And that is kind of, quite frankly, impossible to match up with. So I definitely think post play is our strength. Talk to me about guard play. We know that Diana has been around since Baby Jesus himself. So talk about why her experience could be beneficial to this team.
I think her experience will be beneficial because everyone's still young at the guard position. Like, you're bringing in a lot of first-time Olympians, and a good bit of them are guards. So Sabrina, first-time Olympian. Ka, first-time Olympian. Jackie, first-time Olympian. KP, first-time Olympian. So you're about to be leaning on like four first. Did I say Sabrina? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're about to be leaning on 4 first-time Olympians in the guard spot alone. And then you bring in Chelsea, who played last year, but not as much because Sue was still there and she was learning from Sue, but that was her first year too. And so it's kind of like you need somebody with that much knowledge, especially at the guard spot, because everyone's so young. They're just extremely young at the guard spot. And so you do need a DT to come in and maybe settle things down, because it's the Olympics. Like, you can talk about it and you can watch it, but when you get there, it's kind of like, the energy gonna be there. Everybody's gonna be nervous, whether they say it or not. You could be like, it's just a basketball game, but is it? Like, is it really? The pressure of winning gold, because everybody expects you to win it and everybody's looking for you to be great and beat teams by 20 to 30 points. Like, DT's been through all of that 5 times, so she knows what all that looks like and how to settle in and play and get things going.
What'd you say, B?
I'm trying to think how many she's been going to the Olympics since Bush, right?
This will be 24 years. Clinton, I think, or the first or the second Bush. I'm 20.
Yeah, the second Bush, 24.
I'm 28, so the second Bush.
So Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. Dog, that's a long time.
4 presidents. Okay, so we know what we like about this team, and I think another thing that's underrated about DT is just her, when she gets on anybody else's country, the 3 ball gonna fall. Like, her ability to knock down the 3 ball, baby.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to shoot the 3 ball in international competition because of the way that the other teams defend and the way that our roster is made up. It's extremely important that we shoot the 3 ball. So we definitely got that. All right. So let's
hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and fake the funk. Old Yeller, the door needed to hit you with a good Lord split you.
But I'm ready for the bounce too.
She been hooping to start this year. I gotta give her props.
Yeah,
yes. All where it need to go this year, and she ain't missed no games with a rope collarbone or whatever she got going on. So I'm gonna give it to her. I gotta give her props. It pains me, but I'm gonna give it to her.
But I need this. Let me just say this, DT sister. I need this to be the last one. Okay, I don't want to hear no "see you in Los Angeles." No, I need it to be the last one. But
we'll get into this later. But do y'all think this was her like, okay, I'm gonna get my one out so that the babies can show me up in 28? We'll get into
what? And then she's still gonna be around?
No, that she can finally pass the torch to the players that she thinks are most ready in the guard spot.
I think she just wanted to beat Sue.
I mean, because if you really look at it, I mean, all them guards really old except for Sabrina. I mean, most of them not old.
They're young in Olympic.
They're young in Olympic years. Yeah. By the time
they're all mid-20s.
By the time the next Olympics come around,
they'll be in their 30s.
They'll be in their 10-year WNBA career mark and stuff. And who knows? Some of them may want to have babies and settle down. So we might be dealing with a bunch of new crop of guards the next time.
You're right, B. Okay, let's get into that. Talk to me about some weaknesses of this team going
Shoot.
into this year's Olympics.
Foot
Shoot.
speed. You cannot have KP and Sabrina and DT. Like it, we got to have a limit. One of the three can be on the floor at the same time. It can't be all of them at once. Japan is gonna run you ragged, and I can't watch what we watch with Suber. I'm so sorry.
At least I would take Plum, because in terms of speed, she can get, she can hang with
when she's skipping, when she about to
one.
She's the one. I don't know what it is about overseas play, but KP defends a little bit better overseas. I don't know why, but like at the tournament in when they were in Belgium, the lineup of KP with Jackie, they were defending.
They were cooking. I agree.
Best and then like that was the best defense that we could put on the floor with the group that they sent over there. So I don't know what it is, but for some reason, because even when they went to Australia, KP was probably one of the better guards that we threw out there with like a lineup of Ka.
But she can. I think KP can be handsy internationally, which helps her because
that could be it. Yeah.
In the W, KP definitely can't, two hands off, all that type of stuff. And as soon as like baby Army Donna left that child in the wind. Okay. And a big reason why she did it is because Kelsey couldn't press up on her, hit her with a little hip, a little shoulder. So internationally, we definitely, and DT for sure, definitely going a little shimmy shake, hip check, knee check, all of that. So we do have that ability internationally. What are some other weaknesses of this team? We know foot speed is a major one.
Point guard depth and like true point guard depth. I think we have like guards that can play point, but we don't have true point guards outside of Chelsea. Like I think you can throw an AT in there to run point, but she's a forward that's just running point. You got Sabrina, but she's more of a shooter that's running point. But we don't have true point guards, and I think it's really undervalued how much Sue made that machine work.
Yeah,
like Sue, the points were nothing to her. Because it was like, boom, boom, I'm finding all my stars. Like, I'm on a team full of stars. And when you want a team full of stars, you need a point guard that don't care about the scoring. I'm just going to make sure that my machine is humming.
Yeah.
All my stars are happy and they getting what they want. And we're good to go.
See, the girls say we don't give the greats their and baby, I wholeheartedly agree. I think to be a point guard is to be selfless, but also be selfish enough to know that the team's success comes through me. So I gotta be selfless so that the team can win, which makes me selfish. And I think Sue Bird epitomized that. We go before that. We got our Dawn Staley's, our Cynthia Coopers, everybody. The history of USA basketball is to have that traditional small guard that was comfortable with facilitating and making, to Gianna's point, the machine run. And currently, that is only Chelsea Gray.
Yeah.
The wave is positionless. And so while it may be our weakness, I think in some games it may be advantageous for us to see AT run point when we have maybe a Kelsey and a Ka or Jewel on the floor, because AT is not a scoring big, especially internationally, because you can't labrum tear the girls to death.
You're not running them over.
And you definitely not running them over without getting a foul call. So I definitely think that where that is a weakness, we'll definitely find ways to exploit it. Okay, beautiful gowns. Any other weaknesses y'all want to point to? Or are we ready to keep going, keep this thing chucking?
No, I think that pretty
much. I would do want to add as a strength. I like the addition of Ka and Jackie. I think sometimes last Olympics, we were missing a slasher, a great defender, two-way player. Like we're really missing that two-way player. and now we're going over there with 2. So I like the addition of.
And my God, Jackie and Ka are shooting that thing now. Sick the last game, so let's not use the last game. But like full body of work, Ka looks extremely confident shooting the ball from 3, more confident than I've ever seen her look in her career. Jackie is the true definition of a 3-level scorer. Like a lot of people say they are 3-level scorers. Jackie epitomizes 3-level scorer. She built like an ox. If she go to the rack, it's going in. If she get to the mid range, it's 50% in, 50% out, and from the 3 ball, 40% in, 60% out. She is the definition of a 3-level scorer. And as we've seen this year with Chelsea being out, she is getting into her facilitating bag a little bit more, and I've been very pleased with her decision making in the guard spot. So I think both of those players. Also, we didn't really get to this, but there are 4 Las Vegas Aces players on this team. There are 3 Phoenix Mercury players on this team. There are 2 New York Liberty players on this team. All these players have chemistry together, and they know how to play together. And if we go back even further, Fee and Stewie played together in college at some point. Like there's a lot of small relationships that are intertwined here that I think we will see working. Because if y'all remember when Chelsea got in the game and was playing with Asia in that World Cup, baby, it was on a string. Them babies had just won the title. And it was like, okay, Asia, here you go, baby. We're going to do the same thing we did on the Sun right here. Yep. So the chemistry of this team definitely is something that I think is extremely underrated and that people don't talk about when we talk about the makeup of an Olympic roster is what's the connection of the roster. And I think for the most part, this team has really, really, really good chemistry. Okay.
No connection.
Sorry.
Not there yet.
Not there yet, but we do want to get into what makes it, because, you know, for the people that don't know hoops, they see 7 consecutive wins and think that winning an Olympic gold medal is easy. Maybe 2012, 2008, sure, I would give you that. Winning Olympics is probably more easy for a USA basketball team. But the world is catching up. The world is catching up. Just about every continent has some sort of basketball league that develops talent. As we know in Australia, they have a training program that takes kids from early high school age and develops them to make it to the Australian team. We know that now Nigeria is now a part of. They have a league in Africa where they're developing grassroots basketball, and a lot of that is sponsored by and through the NBA. The NBA has played a large part in growing basketball internationally, and that has filtered over to the women's side. A lot of WNBA players spend their off season in these other countries and giving their talents to these teams and to these coaches, and these coaches can then take the information they're gathering from your Dianas, from your BGs, from your Stewies, and give that information. A lot of people don't know this, that when we have those international teams, we've got 28-year-old Americans playing with 16-year-old Turkish girls. A lot of these kids aren't playing high school basketball. They're developing in those high school years playing with professionals. If you look in the WNBA right now, there's a Julie Van Loo on the Washington Mystics.
Gang.
The rookie in the W. Why? Because she's been playing against these caliber players since well before a lot of Americans have been playing. So I say all that to say that the competition is rising, and I want to give you a list of some teams and some names that we are going to have to face, because Shay's going to give you a graphic in a little bit. Japan, Belgium, Canada, Nigeria, France, Germany, Australia. There are some other teams in the pool, but the American team, we are in a pod. So when you compete in the Olympics, you're competing in 4-team pods. Those 4-team pods, you have to have a winning record to make it out of that pod. So the Americans are going to face Japan, a team that gave us a lot of trouble in the last Olympic cycle. Belgium, if you followed the U.S. team in the exhibition they took over and did in Belgium, we almost did not make it out of Belgium unscathed because good sis Emma Meesman and her guards were on our ass. Okay, if not for Breanna Stewart at the buzzer, we would not have made it unscathed. And then Germany. And if you know anything about Germany, there's a reason why Brazil is not going to the Olympics. And there's a reason why Camilla got teed up in her home country. And it is because the German team is extremely spicy. And if Satu Sabali and her sister are healthy and can play for that team, we gonna have some trouble. So that group is a group that we have to do well against starting. I mean, as soon as we touch down in Paris, we got to get to hooping. Not hooping, we're not making it out of that pod. And of course, making it out of that pod will lead us to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the championship cycle. Shay, B, Yana, talk to me about some teams that scare you.
Belgium.
Cycle.
Yeah, Belgium for sure. Big Meese.
Is Alemán healthy?
Is whom?
Julie Alemán. Is she healthy?
I think she'll be ready.
I think
by
she's
the time
ready.
that Olympics thing come around. She gonna be ready.
She can call the girl.
Who puts fear in me? I would say Japan if our defense isn't where it needs to be. Because we do know that our post play is strong, but you can't keep trading 2s and 3s, right? And so I know some teams when they go against USA, there's like you need to make at least 12 to 15 threes to beat this team type of vibe. They're very capable of hitting 15
launching them jumps.
And they will take them. So and they gonna run us up and down the court. So that's definitely a team that
they finna throw to bring the ass and all them screens.
Yeah, and they gonna play for switches. And then if you be on the switch, that's what I'm doing. I'm flying by her and trying to get it up before she can block it.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of these teams, their players won't have the wear and tear of a WNBA season on their bodies. Fortunately, we have an Olympic break and there's some rest. But to me, when you've seen a team beat you for 7 years in a row, and you know that you're getting better, everybody gonna be coming. So to me, especially in our group, in that pod, I think all 3 teams, even Germany, can really give us some hell because I think internationally, on teams where there's that 1 or 2 players that don't have no fear in their heart, those are the hardest teams to beat, in my opinion. Like a Satu on fire beside her sister and give them maybe 1 complimentary guard. That's tough, extremely tough. And internationally, scoreboard pressure is a real thing. Like when you're not used to losing, when your team has the American legacy of winning, and say we get down 9-10 points going into the 4th. Fortunately, DT's been there; she knows what it's like. But at the guard spot, we don't have players that know what that looks like internationally. If y'all remember correctly, we were down in the last Olympics in some crucial games. I think it was the semifinal game, and we had to fight back. And of course, won by big. But everybody was like, "Hold up." And so
I rolling over in bed like, I know you got to let me sit.
Like, what's going on here? Yes,
got my Snuggie on. So I'm definitely interested to see how everybody comes and looks, but we don't get to ease our way into this Olympic cycle. We got to come out swinging and just make sure that we put forth the best team. Another thing that goes in with the competition, we have a new Olympic coach this year. Now, of course, Cheryl's been with the team for the last 3 years since Don handed off the reins. But Cheryl's system is extremely different than maybe a Don Staley system. Don's system is extremely post-oriented, as we saw, BG Stewie and Asia were the leading scorers. Partially because talent, and that's just matchups. But internationally, does that change? Do we see maybe a play like Fee get more minutes, or maybe do we see a little bit more of a high-low action 1-2 type play? We know Cheryl likes to play the pick and pop a lot in Minnesota. So do we think the system is favorable this year based on what you guys are seeing internationally?
I think you still go with what works. The post play has really been our bread and butter. I mean, I think that's not even Dawn's system. When you look at a lot of the Olympics,
Lisa Auden, you're right.
Like you've had your Lisas, your Tinas, your Sylvias. I mean, depending on how Candace and Swim played, they were also kind of like, big, or those hybrid guard type players. So I think US, I mean, because we're typically, blame it on the food or blame it on the water or whatever, we're typically bigger than everyone else.
Cornbread fed.
Right. Cornbreads and everything else. Or tofu, depending on, your thing, whatever. But seriously, I do think that you just don't go away from what has worked. And that is our post play. Obviously, we do have some really dynamic guards that can go and get theirs. So I do think that will be incorporated, but not run them to the ground, but pound that thing in the paint.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried about Cheryl in general, just like her system, because Cheryl's been really good at tweaking her systems to fit the players that she have. I'm very intrigued to see what she does with this roster, because I mean, look at what she's been able to do with her current Minnesota roster. Like, I had no faith in that roster, and now I'm a believer. I'm like, oh shit, hold on now, Minnesota, they about that shit. So yeah, I think Cheryl, she knows what the bread and butter is, but I wouldn't be shocked if she tries to throw in little tweaks and stuff here based on the players that she got.
I think Cheryl's gonna have so much fun with Stewie and Fee. Like, I really think she gonna run Stewie, Fee, and Asia lineup. I think she gonna run that into the ground.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's
Stewie at 3, 4, Asia at the 5.
Yeah, like you talk about, like she's had like the Sylvia Fowles, Rebecca Brunsons, like she's gonna be like, oh, we about to have a good ass time. Put all the big, she might be like, put all the bigs in, take the goddamn cards off.
Okay. AT at the 1, I would die.
AT put AT at the 1,
right?
Point at the 3, B you at the 2, BG you at the 5, AG you at the 4. Let's go. We finna
everybody run. So yeah. I'm excited to see what she does. I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah,
so I'm curious, because in recent years we've seen, whether it's been like, I guess, preparing them to take the reins of USA basketball, in 2020, Fee and Atkins and Skylar didn't get that much PT, right? Yeah. So I wonder if this year, if any of the, because I can't see it, like all of the players who are in this pool, for the majority of them, are dogs and can't play. So I'm wondering if there's anybody who will probably be there as just prep for that next era. Like, I mean, I can't see her sitting.
It'll probably be Sabrina. I think just when you look at it, like player for player, pound for pound, talent for talent, her strengths are not astronomically better than anyone's strengths, but her weaknesses are extremely weak in comparison to those around her. And if you have her playing the 1, I would still take her playing the 1 after AT or KP or Jackie. And if you have her at the 2, I would take all the other 2 guards, and at the 3, absolutely not. So
for defense, you're going to need your Cods and your Jackie, and like, who else going to defend from the guard spot?
Yeah,
you gotta have Jewel.
So I think if we're looking at like a minutes distribution, I think Sabrina will probably take the least amount of minutes. Now that is pending Chelsea's health, because if they don't play Chelsea her full minutes, then that's gonna change the rotation. But still, I think in terms of the way that I saw her use Sabrina the last go around, it definitely wasn't a player that she had a lot of. And remember when they went to Belgium, that was not the full team. So I could definitely see her minutes getting lost in the sauce. I think Ka might be another player that doesn't get as many minutes in comparison to the other players. I think she'll get defensive minutes, but I don't see her going like anything over 15 a game. And I think DT will probably stay around the 10 to 15 minutes a game as well. But everybody else, I think, could probably eat up a chunk.
Okay.
All right. So we got the competition. Now let's talk about something that a lot of people really don't understand and a lot of people need to learn about. So as we know, the Olympic cycle is a 3-year process. After the, preceding Olympics, so the preceding one was 2020, but of course it happened in 2021, so the cycle was condensed. They go into planning for the next Olympic cycle. So they look at the talent and the W on the collegiate ranks in the USA system, and everyone's bidding for that next Olympics. So much so that if you watch the acceptance videos, KP broke down and cried. Jackie broke down and cried. And we see so many players year in and year out have that same feeling, because you only get, if a basketball player's career is 15 years on average, that gives you 3 Olympics within your hoops career to really make your dream happen. And as we know, the USA team is stacked. Michael Vopel had a post and said 8 of the 12 players on this team were all former number 1 draft picks in the WNBA. 8 out of 12 players. That is insane. So we know the amount of talent. We know that it's a shortened amount of time to make your dream come true. So when we look at that, I want to get to some of the players that have been in the Olympic pool since the last Olympics, but did not make the roster. So Brandon already mentioned Skylar Diggins-Smith played in the last Olympics, and of course was not brought onto the team this year. Tina Charles played in the last Olympics, was not brought on the team this year. Ariel Atkins played in the last Olympics, was not brought on the team this year. Some other players I want to throw out. Alicia Gray has been a part of a lot of those qualifying tournaments that Yana mentioned, and also won gold in the 3v3 team. Ron Howard is now on the 3v3 team, but participated in a lot of those preceding and qualifying tournaments for this Olympics. Orike Ogumawale, this is not a player that has a lot of experience in the USA basketball gym, but she has been around enough and has played in a few qualifying tournaments. But Najalani is another player that has participated in the college tour, has played in some of those qualifying tournaments. These are all Aaliyah Boston, Bree Jones, Shakira Austin. There are so many talented players in the WNBA in that were left off of this Olympic team. So talk to me about that process of players bidding for a spot on a team where there are some guarantees. If Diana asks to be back in the Olympics, she's going to be back in the Olympics. Bree, Anna Stewart, BG, and Asia are the 3 best bigs in the world. If they want to be on the team, they're on the team. So Chelsea Gray, the best point guard in the world, if she wants to be on the team, she's going to be on the team. So that's already 5 to 6 spots already taken up. So that leaves 6 more spots open. So talk about the competing process and why it's so important to be a part of that 3-year cycle to make sure that you even have the potential to make an Olympic roster.
I think it's important to get your name out there. I mean, and then we all know, and we've all seen, especially in 2016 and 2020, that it's not guaranteed. No matter how good you are, it's not guaranteed. So I mean, whether it's politics or any other reason, for whatever reason, it's just sometimes it just doesn't happen for certain players. And so going there, I think I saw something. I was listening to DT's response today in regard to ISIS. She was talking about ISIS, and she mentioned that sometimes just because you're the top player doesn't mean that you're going to be able to make an Olympic roster, because team supersedes individual players. Yes. And so I think, and that made me instantly think, well, for Nneka to not make it, was her style a clash of someone else that was already on the roster, or because they already had the Team USA experience? And not just necessarily pointing her out, but that's where I instantly went. And so when you see some players who are guards, who are dynamic guards, who are scoring amazing guards, well, will that necessarily work in an Olympic format? Will that work in a team format where you have to be cognizant of who you have on your team or who you're even competing against, because at any given moment, somebody could come and knock you off your spot. So it's like that's a good way to think about it. Just because you're the best doesn't mean that you're the right fit for that team.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, you think about when we were watching the last Olympics, those guards are the best guards in the world. A lot of them were really bad.
Yes.
Like that, it was rough to watch the last Olympics from a guard play perspective.
Yes,
but
God.
them on their respective teams, wherever they are, great, all-stars, all WNBA. But if you can't get it done on the international stage, we're gonna have to look elsewhere. And I mean, you look at having on the men's side, Damian Lillard, great guy, was terrible in international play. It's a matter of, can your game translate? And like, I think somebody like AT benefits the opposite way, because it's like she might be a little too much of a dog for the W sometimes. She get a little international play. You need that. You need that guard dog. So it very much is dependent on, it's not just like, oh, I'm great, put her on the team. That's not how that
doesn't work. But
you know what I thought of when you said, like, because they weren't necessarily the fit internationally, and this isn't the case for everyone, because we know certain players like Asia, outside of that 1 month, even if it was a full month,
they played overseas.
They play overseas. But you look at someone like, maybe, like AT, Stewie, BG, they've gone overseas. But then if we look at the last Olympics, Skylar never went overseas.
Right.
And that was much to the chagrin of a lot of people, because they're like, oh, you don't think you have to go and pay your dues like the rest of us? I remember there was a lot of talk around that. And I wonder if eventually that caught up to her, because yes, she's been in the camps and stuff like that, but real competition versus these international clubs is a lot different than you playing in the WNBA, which she ended up coming back and being the first team All W. So it's like, you can do it here, but can you do it over there?
And building on that.
Oh, go ahead, Dolores.
I mean, even just having experience in the USA basketball gym, Asia didn't go overseas, but she won gold at just about every age up until she needed to be on the senior team. She was on her U16 team, U18 team, U20, and then the main team. And when she was over there, to Yana's point earlier, she was MVP. She U15 in 2015, best player in America. What was the other year? 18, not one of them years, another best player. It's so important to earn your stripes, or to B's point earlier, put your name in that conversation, whether it be earning your stripes internationally or earning it through the USA gym internationally, because that competition is so different. And the time frame is so condensed. Like these, when they say camp, they mean weekend, a few hours, 4 or 5 hours a day.
We put 2 to 3 day mini camp.
3 days, very small camps. This is not send everybody to Hawaii, send everybody to Colorado, send everybody to California, spend 2 months together and develop some chemistry. This is y'all the best in the world. We think that y'all can be cohesive. Let's make some shit shake. And the people that can be the most cohesive, that's who we taking. And go ahead, Shay.
I was going to say, I think B brings up a really good point, though, because Skylar did get a lot of pushback on that, and Asia got some, too. And so I wonder now, with all of this NIL money and these new kids coming out, they aren't going to have to go. And
You're right.
Wonder, will that help close the gap between the USA and the rest of the world? You think it will?
As long as I think it's great that we have these mini not tournaments, but like the qualifying tournaments in between, because that'll give more players exposure to the physicality of overseas. But I do think that Team USA is going to have to start reevaluating how they bring in these new players. Like, we can't wait until a DT and Sue are at year 5 and we finally say, okay, let's go get another point guard. Or, okay, like BG is about to, this is probably BG's last Olympics. It might not be, but she's teetering on that older side of the age bracket. So, who's the next center? And whoever is the next center, most of them probably don't have experience playing at that level, and the physicality is nuts overseas. And if you have players now who aren't going overseas because we have NIL money. We don't really need the overseas play anymore and stuff like that. You're not going to be ready for that physicality. Like it's a different, like I know a lot of people freaked out about the physicality from college, the pros, but baby, pros, the FIBA ain't nothing. Like that is a different type of physicality that you have to play through. It's not pretty. You're not going to get off screens easy and get a nice wide open three, and you're not going to drive to the rim and get a pretty layup or nothing. Like you try that pretty shit over there, and they go probably rip your arm out your socket. Like they don't care about that stuff. So it's gonna be real interesting to see how that transpires over the next couple of years. Like maybe.
And we saw that just recently this past summer when the USA basketball sent a bunch of college kids to play with some grown women, and we got smacked in the finals against Brazilians, and everybody's on Twitter, oh, they're competing against 35-year-olds and 40-year-olds and grown women that used to be in the WNBA. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Baby, this not SEC play. This not ACC play. Baby, these women want gold. Baby, we putting on for our country. My mama looking at me from the slums, baby. I gotta put on. I gotta beat your ass. And so that part of it, to be in Shay's point, is that in America, because we've gotten so accustomed to winning, people forget that the reason the 96 team was so big was because the USA teams took some losses those years prior. Mm-hmm. And they said we got to assemble this good team to put on. And by putting on, we could set the stage for what would be the WNBA. So that walks me into my next point. Talk to me about, so many people, because the Olympic roster has, been announced, or there was some alleged Olympic rosters. I've said it, that there was some information presented. There might be a certain player on this Olympic team. Now, we know that ended up not being the case, but every headline that I've seen, Caitlin Clark snubbed for the Olympics. Caitlin Clark left off the Olympics. We got pundits, we got politicians, we got everybody wanting to put Caitlin on a team that she did not earn her spot onto and has not spent that time in the trenches with. So let's walk down memory lane. In order for the WNBA to start in when, Brandon?
1997.
There we go. Start in 1997. There's a documentary about it. Go watch it on ESPN. About the assembly of the 96 Olympic team. That 96 Olympic team laid the foundation for what we are now reaping the benefits of. Yep. This is almost I'm 28 years old. This is almost a 30-year culmination of grassroots work. That 96 team was everywhere, on TV, in colleges, in small communities. They were literally touring the country and the world to make the world know that women's professional basketball in the United States was a thing and that they were here to develop that. And they did. They were successful. Right after the Olympics and winning gold in 96, we then had our first WNBA draft, which would lead to history. And now we have the players we have today. So I say all that to say that 96 team brought the hose.
I did.
WNBA first started, the arenas were packed.
Mm-hmm. Like our highest viewed, the highest viewed WNBA game is in the 5 millions or something like that. Like even with Caitlin's joining the W, we still haven't hit.
We haven't passed those.
I can't remember which game it was, but it was literally 5 point something million. So the WNBA,
but I think the Mystics were involved in that game.
Were they?
I'll do my Googles. I
know the most attended game included a Shamika Coles Claw. So I say all that to say that 96 Olympic team built the ground that the WNBA walks on now.
Yeah.
And in that history between 96 and 2024, the talent didn't get less. The game did not get worse. Networks, major networks, chose to stop showing and airing. And in that process, WNBA teams lost their affiliation to NBA teams. And that played a large part into what we now see as the growth that we're trying to see now. But in the very early stages, the game was at its biggest, and the platform was there for it to continue to grow, even faster and quicker than the men's game did. Now, we know that institutional sexism, Miss Noir, played a large part in some of those down years where viewership numbers weren't crazy and attendance started to decrease. But we've now seen a rise, and that rise has been because of a player, or partly because of a player named Caitlin Clark. And her rise has made people believe that her college talent warrants her being on the current Olympic team. Talk to me about that. And is that something you guys thought or think is possible or should have been possible in this cycle?
No, because for me, I don't think there was any room for Caitlin on this team because of the work that other players have put in up until this point. Like, we already know that when you get to the Olympics, our team is different than every other team because they don't have a lot of time to play together with one another. France, for example, has players that pulled out of the WNBA this season to simply focus on France. They're practicing for France right now. We don't get that. We get about the Olympics, start in July?
Correct.
So we get about maybe 2 weeks to practice with each other, play maybe 2 exhibition games, and boom, you're headed right into the group of death. So you have to have people that you're familiar with. You have to know that, like Cheryl said, she don't know who she's going into the trenches with. One thing that you realize in training camp that a lot of people don't think about is, are these players capable of picking up on concepts that I need them to pick up on within 2 weeks? Because that's all we have. So the verbiage that I'm used to saying, the way we play, how we want to run things, can you pick up that quickly? Because we need you to pick it up quickly. And they don't know these things about Caitlin because Caitlin hasn't been to training camp. And that's no fault of her own because her team made it to the Final Four during the years that they were having these training camps. But it is what it is. You have these players that have been learning Cheryl's verbiage, learning her concepts, learning how Team USA want to approach the Olympics, playing with one another, practicing plays. And you need that when you have a short turnaround. And I know people are just like, well,
they'll win anyways.
The bench. They're going to win anyways. No, because you never know when God forbid, but you never know when an injury could happen. When they were in Australia, Carl was playing well. Carl got injured. Boom. Who's going to step in? You never know. Foul trouble. That might happen. You don't know how far into your bench you're going to have to go. And if you have somebody just sitting there because y'all want to, for views and she ain't ready, then what? What do you do?
Mm-hmm. So let's pull up some of the conversation on social media. A former WNBA player, Val, put up a quote from interviews. So USA Basketball weighs in on their decision to exclude Clark. It would be irresponsible for us to talk about her in a way other than how she would impact the play of the team, Rosati said. Because it wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the U.S., it was our purview to create the best team we could for Cheryl. The Olympic selection process, USA Basketball is not a marketing entity. It is a nonprofit organization. They are not creating teams to grow the WNBA. Let me say that one more time. USA Basketball is not creating teams to grow the WNBA now. That was done in 96. The WNBA was created. USA Basketball is concerned with winning gold medals, putting the best team together, the most cohesive team together to win gold medals. A few years ago, when the controversy broke about Candace not making the Olympic team, a few years after that, Sue Bird was quoted saying, "I know that there have been some controversial decisions made about teams, but I trust the process." And I remember quoting that and being like, "Damn, I don't know how you trust the process, because baby, some really talented people have been left off, and a lot of times it's Black women. We've seen it with NECA, we've seen it with Candace, and that plays a large part into their legacy." So we as fans view the Olympics, and we know the impact of having an Olympic gold medal attached to your name, because it is part of a player's legacy. Caitlin Clark does not have a national championship. She does not have a high school championship. And if she stays on the Indiana Fever as is, she will not have a WNBA championship. The easiest championship she could earn would be, when I say easiest, putting that in air quotes, would be through the Olympic system.
Mm-hmm.
And people know that. And people that are fans of Caitlin know that. They see a player that scored all these points in college, that broke all these records, that won some cool games on national TV, and they want to build her legacy in a way that is easier for her. That is not USA Basketball's job. Again, USA Basketball's job, as coach, as Rosati said, was to assemble the best team possible for sure. Yana said it earlier. She's not been in the camps. She doesn't know the schemes. She would have to learn the system. And all of that would have to take place in a shorter amount of time than anybody else that is on the roster. So if Caitlin were to make the roster, we have to talk about who on that current pool of 12 would we take off. So I pose a question to y'all. Who are we taking off of the current pool of 12?
Nobody. She's not better than any of the players on that roster, including Diana Taurasi.
And I'm gonna just add this: if I was to take somebody off, it wouldn't be for her. Like that, right. that wouldn't even cross my mind. If I was going to take somebody off, I'm taking somebody off to maybe add an Enrique in, especially with the way Enrique's been playing this season and what I've seen from her. Because I do think one of the reasons Enrique hasn't made the roster is her inability to show how she can involve other teammates, which is something that she's been showing as of late. But yeah, because for the simple fact that you just haven't been a part of any of the camps. And I know some people look at, well, Stewie joined and she, hadn't did this or whatever. But unfortunately, you also got to look at who's the head coach. Like Cheryl said it. I would have not been in the trenches with her. Stewie stepped in and Gino was there. She played under that man for 4 years. So she knows his verbiage and how he talks. She knows the way he wants things done. So her transition would have been simpler than what Caitlin would have to go through.
And again, Stewie is Stewie. Stewie has 4 national championships.
Yeah.
Stewie played on a mini Olympic team in college. Stewie knew how to play that style of ball. And that is a real conversation that we have to have. Stewie wasn't dropping 40 points a game in college. Stewie wasn't dropping 30 points a game in college. Stewie was giving, a consistent 18 to 22 a game. And she was playing with players that eventually were drafted second and third behind her. Prior to that, she was playing with future top 5 WNBA picks. She has been playing with WNBA international caliber players her entire career. So she knows how to play in that team style of we thing and be a star in we. And one of the biggest things in Caitlin's career that we all talked about, and of course I applied it in some ways, Caitlin wanted to be a star of a team that doesn't have 17 5-stars around her. So Caitlin, the shots that Caitlin took in college, she can't take those for USA Basketball. The logo threes, Cheryl might blow a gasket. We in the trenches against Japan, and you trying to shoot from the Pepsi side, baby, you coming out the game. We in the trenches against Belgium, and you trying to do a tweener, and Emma Meeseman standing right there, you coming out the game. And a lot of people refuse to look at some of the weakest areas of her game and say there are these conducive to winning a championship with USA Basketball. Yes, we know Caitlin can pass. Yes, we know Caitlin can score. She doesn't defend well. She doesn't handle physicality well.
She criticized comments after the game last night.
She criticized comments after the game last night. Listen, exactly to Shay's point. Coach Sides, took her out of the game. She wasn't defending in a game in the WNBA. And the Connecticut Sun are basically like the average in FIBA. Like, that's not even as physical as it gets. And so, yes, Caitlin will grow and become and learn all the things she needs to learn to make herself a viable candidate for USA Basketball. But I'm going to give you some players that never got to earn their stripes with USA Basketball. Becky Hammond, Courtney Vandersloot, some of the best guards ever. Tisha Pinachero never got to do it in a USA Basketball gym.
Yep.
Skylar Diggins barely got to do it. There are some talent. Enrique still ain't got the call. There are some talented players that might never win gold for Team USA because Team USA is about Team USA. Now,
interject.
Go ahead, Shay.
Interject here. We got to rip the Band-Aid off here. The fact that we are doing this whole media press thing about a Team USA team that you have not been to a camp for, you haven't built no chemistry with those people, it's a certain entitlement that I cannot fathom and get behind. I can't do it. I'm so sorry. And people want to compare like, oh, well, Christian Laettner was on the drink. First of all, those teams are two very different places. Second of all, what was Christian Laettner? Not a two-time champion.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting those. We keep leaving those facts out.
Accolades, yeah.
I don't get how you can go and say, yeah, I've been left off and snubbed from a team that you didn't earn a spot on. It's entitlement to me. And she'll be on the Olympic team, the one in LA, in 4 years from now. But all of this media outcry and all of this stuff as if Team USA, A, needs her, B, you all talking about viewership, and what you don't equate with viewership is the media circus that's going to come with her if she doesn't get the playing time that you all think that she should get. Do you think people want to deal with Stephen A. and all of them getting on and saying, why isn't Caitlin playing in Paris? Why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? Nobody wants to deal with that shit, man. Yeah. We have to be honest about it. Like
I was literally about to say that.
Dolores just said, this is Team USA. This ain't me USA. This ain't Iowa USA. This is Team USA. We have a culture that is established here. And I know culture is something that is missing, specifically in the Indiana Fever, goddamn it. We have a culture that's built here, and we're not going to let anybody just come in here and do it because we're talking about viewership. And my last point is, so much of this conversation is about viewership and not about play on the court, because you all know that she's not better than them. You're not outright better than anybody on that roster. So now we're talking about viewership as if she's a mascot or a TikTok goddamn influencer, when what we should be saying, if your argument is Caitlin is better than XYZ player, let's talk about that. But those are not the arguments. The arguments are, well, what about growing the game that y'all didn't care to grow? Now everybody is a grower of the game and they know what's best for women's basketball. So I'm tired. The entitlement is crazy to me. You will be on the next Olympic team. You will be a good player, but not right now. Sorry, sister.
And like, I really just want to emphasize the part that you said about the distraction piece, right? Like, this team is trying to go for their 7th gold. They know what it takes to get there. And the outside noise, it's a lot. Like, the outside noise, whether y'all want to admit it or not, it's a lot. Like, you have teammates of hers that had to get rid of their social media because of the social media attacks. Their coach, if y'all ever decide to take a look at Christy Side's Instagram comments, it's atrocious. It's ridiculous. And so do I really want to deal with that throughout this entire time when I should be focused on winning gold? Do I want to open my Instagram or my Twitter or whatever and see people in my mentions being racist or attacking me because I took a layup instead of kicking the ball out to get her a 3. Or if I'm Cheryl, I took her out because she missed a defensive assignment and now you're pissed at me and you're calling for my job or you're doing that. Like, nobody wants to deal with all of that because the pressure to win 7 is already tough. Like, it's 8. The pressure to win 8 is already tough by itself, especially when people assume you're going to beat everybody by 20 to 30. That pressure alone is tough. So now I have to have this added pressure when I don't even need it.
Yeah. So I think rounding out this conversation, I'm excited for the Olympics. I'm not patriotic no other time of the year. As soon as I hear them as soon as they do that little opening day little walk thing, baby, go ahead and paint me red, white, and blue.
Okay.
Baby, I'm about to sing that national anthem every time we win a
badminton, table tennis,
all of it.
women, diving.
All of it.
I don't know who. I ain't never knew who Katie Ledecky was, but I was there watching.
Like, go ahead and make history, Katie girl.
And if we being 100, I watch the Olympic trials like that shit is my last dot, baby. I be sweating in this bitch.
I'm ready for that too.
Baby, especially track. I be like, you know what? I be playing the Olympic game. I be like, now I know this kid looks good at the trials, but do they have a chance of medaling at the big one? Because baby, I don't want nobody on the team that can't medal. Okay, so hopefully y'all got your 4th of July clothes ready so you can put them in the bag for the Olympics.
I'm trying to get one of them jerseys.
Players jersey, because baby, we about to lock in. And for those of you that keep bringing up viewership, the Olympics have been going on for hundreds of years. It is an international sporting event. Yeah. That means that if there is a small little TV in the hut in some third world country, it's on one of them local channels so that they can watch the Olympics. The Olympics are for regular, everyday people, not sports fans. Let me say that again. The Olympics are for regular, everyday people, not sports fans. So the viewership that you guys are discussing is for a niche audience. The viewership that the Olympics are for is for an international audience that may not know Caitlin Clark. But you know who will know Caitlin Clark? All those people in Paris that show up to the international women's games in France, because there are professional leagues in Europe that have record attendance regularly to watch people like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Brittany Griner, and others play in their off season. So you know who are some household names? The people that made the roster. So as you're watching this, I bid you farewell and good night.